Every 3 years, the best sailors on the planet compete in the world's toughest offshore challenge, the Volvo Ocean Race.
1, 2, go!
Stench.
For the 12th edition, 7 teams left Alicante, Spain, to cross 4 oceans and 5 continents over 9 months. It is the ultimate endurance test that all professional sailors dream of doing.
It's just relentless.
With a fleet solely composed of the Volvo Ocean 65, a boat designed to take on the most grueling offshore race. Crews are pushed to the limit in a competition that has never been closer. Battling 24/7, fighting storms, and defying the worst that Mother Nature can throw at them.
You get a beating out there.
Pushing the crews to a place where there is only a thin margin between winning the leg.
Fantastic, we're on top of the world. So proud of my team.
First win. Nice, very nice.
Or losing it all.
Holy shit, I can't believe this. I can't actually believe this happening.
This is their story. Leg 2 has been a tough one. First with a dip in southern waters, then sailing alongside a tropical depression, and not to mention going through the doldrums again, or losing a boat on a reef. For most of their leg, the fleet battled constant changes of wind, making the journey towards their final destination of Abu Dhabi even more arduous. Team Brunel crossed the line first.
It's always good to be in first place, and especially after this leg because it has been so close.
Shortly followed by Dongfeng race team.
I think any team you will have asked that in the captain, will you sign for second place on this leg, everybody would have said yes.
In third position, it's Azan. And for Ian's crew, arriving in Abu Dhabi is a real homecoming.
Quite emotional again. I don't know why I always get like this, but I do. At the end of any long leg, real feeling of pride for having completed it safely and got everybody here in one piece. And we're in podium position, which is our goal. Top 3 in every leg if we can. And so I think we've got to be pleased. Sure, we could have sailed slightly better, and that's why we didn't win the leg. But we're not going to do everything right all the time.
Seeing the family again is also a special moment.
First steps while I was away on the leg, so obviously Maria told me by email, and I was looking forward to it the whole trip. So it's great to see the little man running around. It's hard being away too much, but Maria's great at letting me know what's going on and everything that's happening, and it gives me something really to look forward to in every leg.
For Ian's crew, it's time to get some well-deserved rest. Back on the water, Mapfre and Team Alvimedica have been fighting each other for over a week, swapping position many times. But it's the Spanish boat that crosses the finish line in 4th place.
I think we have a very good fun leg. When you are all together, you really push yourself more and more. So we have the 50% of the leg on the beginning. Then we lost the position with the 3 guys in front. But then once again at the end we have a lot to push again with Alvimedica. So very interesting leg. We learn a lot. We've been a very high level, especially in the beginning of the leg, and I think the team is going to improve a lot for the next one. So I'm very happy.
And as the sun is setting, Team Alvimedica arrives in 5th position.
Hit some really good moments during this leg. I mean, we led for almost the first week in some pretty difficult conditions we know we'll see later in the race. Only 20% of the scoring's behind us, even though we've been out here 50 days. But yeah, I think with a small, couple tweaks here and there with the way we do business on board, and we'll be just as competitive as that top group. So, still at it.
At the end of each leg, the Turkish-American crew's health is placed under the microscope.
For the first time, we actually shown on the first leg that they lost more muscles compared to body fat than I seen before. So we started to try to change the food on the leg too, and also we adapted like a sort of an easy training session during the races when they are calm, not very bad. One very, very important thing which few people knows about is that if you lose muscles, you lose your brain. Actually, it's very interesting because the concentration ability is going down.
Is that true?
The reason why we have to take them straight from the boat is because we don't want to have any influence from what's happening around, like they come in, they're eating hamburgers and things like that. The food they have on the boats, which are dry, freezed food, is very similar, which you can't believe in what we eat in fast food and processed food a normal person eats. So it's a perfect situation of looking how the body reacts on this not very healthy food.
Some of the data we will have actually ready already tomorrow. For example, how much body fat and muscle like that. And some data for the blood we will have within 24 hours. But some of the data we spare for research purpose, and that will be very sophisticated data. So that's what it is. We divide it in different parts.
What's happening to these sailors are actually developing a pre-status of diabetes, and also show risk factors for heart disease. And that's very surprising. And even though they're working very hard and they're on a very high energy level, they're actually gaining fat in the abdominal situation, visceral fat. What I've been surprised of is that if you compare to normal person in the normal life, like a stressful life, this isn't so far away from what they are experiencing.
You don't have enough of my blood.
If you compare this to a normal person in a normal life, it's what they can do for maybe a couple of years, these guys do on 1 year.
So even though the crews are dedicated athletes, the extreme regime on board can result in unseen and potentially lasting damage to the body. It's nightfall in Abu Dhabi when Team SCA reach their final destination.
Relieved to arrive and that this leg is over. But yeah, it looks like a pretty unique place, and really excited to see everyone and see the shore crew and have a Christmas and come back and do it again but better next year.
It was a difficult leg two for SCA. It started so well, and then when we lost sight of the leaders, it was hard because we were basically sailing the leg on our own, and the breeze never filled in as textbook says it will, so we've had really light breeze, and so it's made it very tough tactically and strategically, but we've worked really hard.
With the boats docked in port, the Boatyard is now in full swing.
We've been monitoring the boats obviously while they're at sea, checking their job lists. So we've got it all down on paper what's needed to be done. We'll start lifting them out and allow the teams 24 hours to clean the boats, to pull the masts out, pull the boats out. Then our team flies into it first thing Monday morning. We have guys here that'll start the checking, start the testing, do the NDT, which is the ultrasound on the composite structure, the composite hull. It's a matter now to really prioritise those main points to ensure that when the boats do go back in, we're not in a situation where we need to pull them out and do something. It's pretty important that every person opens their eyes broadly, goes through it with a fine-tooth comb to ensure that we get everything done 100%.
And the team's shore crews are pitching in to help.
We're rushing to get all the boats ready, the cradles up, you know, all the dock box and all the equipment ready to get the boat out of the water. We've got some great Chinese guys helping us shoreside, as well as some great sailors, so it's really moulding into a fantastic team. Basically, they've had the Chinese guys that have come to the academy, and they've all been selected as the best option for the Chinese sailors from the Chinese team. And then when they're not on the boat sailing, they're with us in the shoreside. You know, they've been learning very quickly, and as far as languages and skills are involved. And yeah, the dynamics, we're now working, you know, a very well-oiled machine. You know, that was working very well together.
Okay.
Everyone's very, very proud in the team, you know, and for what the guys are producing out on the water, they're really showing that they're up there with the best. Obviously we were seen as underdogs from the beginning, but I think after 3 weeks, 25 days at sea, and they're neck and neck, you know, it makes for very good sport.
With the shore crew hard at work, the sailors can finally spend some quality time with their families.
Today we're in the Abu Dhabi Zoo, which is interesting always to go on the other side of the world to a zoo, because we go with the kids to the zoo often. But here you see different animals, so it's great. And when you have children, it's all about rhythm and how you do things and organize things, because it comes from all angles. Weird things going on. They have to travel around the world, and especially Mella is going to school in the 1st of January, which is a big change. And we try to keep it as normal as we can, but of course, you know, now we're in Abu Dhabi, we were in Cape Town, and so for us it's also a learning experience on how to deal with it all. But so far so good, and it's, you know, it's a great that we can look back at it afterwards. Yeah. It's hard to switch straight on to how many spoons of milk in a bottle and what's the sleeping rhythm and so on. But it's also great. It's also a great way to get your mind off the sailing. It's great to spend time with the family, obviously.
Just like that. All right.
It's great to finish here first. We know what we're worth, and we think we have a good shot at this event. And that's what we've been saying to everyone. We know we're not going to win everything from now, but we know we can win, and now we've showed it. Could have easily gone the other way, could have easily gone Dongfeng, but I think top 3 was a very good result in this leg, and we managed to pull it off. We needed a bit of luck as well, but saying that, we worked very hard to stay just in front. We didn't have to be miles in front, but just in front was good enough for us. And yeah, it was great fun. I mean, we have a fantastic team, and we enjoy being on that boat together. And you know, we look forward to the rest of the race.
After over 3 weeks at sea, the 6 teams have finally arrived at their destination. The city of Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, a stopover of choice for the end of the 2nd leg. A place where tradition and modernism meet head-on. For the sailors, it's time to rest, relax and spend some time with their families. But for Dee, Ian, Jean-Luc and Bao, it's also time to reflect on what has happened so far in the race.
I think overall it's actually a relief to have finished leg 2. It's obviously nice to arrive, but it was a bit of a frustrating leg.
I'm not sure anybody's ever sailed from Cape Town to Abu Dhabi, let alone in a race. So, you know, there were a lot of unknowns.
Leg 2 was just under 10,000 kilometers and had the fleet sailing through some very variable weather patterns.
The first part is I think in that sense has been the most hard once you're leaving Cape Town, because you still have to come into a rhythm, to come into a routine, and I think that's the hardest part always of every leg.
I always look at it that you can't win the race in the first sort of day or hour, but you can lose the race. So for me, I just took it very easy. I didn't want to damage anything. It was pretty mad what people were doing, and you know, great show, great images. But really had very little to do with the leg ahead, and the risk was damaging anything. So we were just very, very conservative, put reefs in the main, sailed round, and just got on our way.
Every decision taken on the boat has a consequence. A good one means taking the lead, while a bad one may cost you the whole leg.
It was a long one with a lot of upwind, sailing close to the wind. And there is also some strategic move. We did some good one, and we did a bad one. So that's why the result is middle of the fleet.
I always said it will come down to the best team, and even I might be really happy with my team. There might be a team who's actually maybe performing better than us. As long as we don't get last, then it's already a good result.
I think it's important to remember that we do this because we're passionate about the sport. We actually love what we do, and I think that's why we get frustrated when we're not performing how we want to perform.
More often than not, it's the skippers and the navigators who have to decide what risks are worth taking.
I don't know yet if after 2 legs the best solution is don't take risk. Sometimes you can think, okay, we are 4 here now and we have a lot of distance on the other boat, so we are 4 for a battle for the podium. So it's just one boat out of the podium, so it could be a good calcul. But if you are a free boat like, I don't know the story, but going to nowhere, it's crazy. Sometimes you have to take your responsibility. Say, yeah, it will be not working to go in this way. So I'm very. I put maybe 80% chance that it will be in the east, for example. That's what we thought at this moment.
Whatever happens, the teams all have the same goal: making the podium. But on a race this long, constant improvement is also key.
We always had the intention, and we still have the intention, for every leg to be in amongst the fleet, racing competitively and establishing ourselves up the rankings. We know we're a team that are going to improve because we lack a lot of experience, and we're hoping to see that. Unfortunately, leg 2, we didn't see that, and so that's why we've arrived a little frustrated, and we need to kind of look at what happened.
Well, it was quite an emotional leg 2, with the incident with Team Vestas. I think that affected everybody in the fleet for quite a big portion. I mean, it makes you realise, you know, the dangers that are out there and how much you have to be on your guard, and also makes you sort of grateful to be here in one piece and to get here in the podium. So, you know, pleased to be here in 3rd place. Probably would have taken that leaving Cape Town, but as always, when you don't win, you always have a little look back and think, oh, if we'd done this differently, or what if we'd done that differently?
As all the sailors know, it's not about regrets, but about doing the right thing at the right moment in time.
Dongfeng has shown in the past some excellent speed. So we just said, oh, it will be hard to get him back. But we actually learned quite a few things this time, and we actually started reeling them back. And all of a sudden we were like 1.5 miles behind them. And then that breeze came in all of a sudden for both of us. And we're just sailing sheer faster than them with, I think, 40 miles to go. We passed them 3 lengths to leeward and got a 2-mile lead. And then just before the finish, of course, we nearly packed up again. And the reach turned into a beat, but we managed. So it's sweet to come in Abu Dhabi, but especially for the youngsters in the team who haven't done the race before, just to see that you never should give up until you actually finished.
For Bao, part of that winning mentality starts with a strong team. And what could be better than to celebrate family life as one?
It's my son's 4th birthday today, so very exciting for him mostly. He's been pretty much sleepless for the last week because everybody's saying, oh, it's going to be your birthday, it's going to be your birthday. He's like his dad in every way, you know, not a bowman for nothing. Can't sit still and run around, and that's how he is.
He was awake at 6 o'clock this morning, and he's very excited about the present and everything. And he knew he was his birthday in Abu Dhabi. Every time I was saying we are going to Abu Dhabi, oh, when is my birthday? When is my birthday?
I missed my youngest son's 1st birthday, and that was definitely quite hard because the 1st birthday is even more special. So it's even nicer to be there right now. And actually, a 1st birthday he doesn't realise. But the 4th he does realise, so it's really nice to be there for Mellon.
Sorry, I'm not that good with children.
Back on the road, got to pack my bags, but we're ready for it. And now we're getting to a stage where it's almost like halfway in a leg. You know, you're kind of an automatic pilot, and you just keep rolling and do your things, and packing becomes easier. And you know, for example, when I come back from a leg, I wash my clothes, but I make sure they stay in the same bag. So now I have to pack my bag. I only have to open it and say, okay, I'm not taking that job done. You know, and just things get so much easier. Yeah, it's a lot less tense.
Dongfeng race team started the race as a firm underdog due to the rookie Chinese sailors on board. However, they're quickly realizing they are becoming a more and more serious challenger for the title.
I think we did a very good job on the first 2 legs, but we've also been a bit lucky, because you need to be lucky because the level is very similar and all the boats are really good, and it's very difficult to be in the lead. When you see how much time the leader changed during each leg, it's really complicated. But I think we learn a lot from this leg, and like I say at the start, the winner of this Volvo Ocean race is the guy who improved more during the race. So we have options because on the first and second leg we are playing with the best. So if we improve more than the other one, maybe we can beat everybody. I don't know.
But one question is on everyone's mind. How much does the presence of less experienced sailors in the team affect performance?
It is compromise. But I think everybody is compromising because Abu Dhabi is compromising, every single team we have under 30, they're compromising because the guys have less experience. So we are doing compromise all the time, and with the Chinese it is compromise, but the Chinese are bringing us something different, like a team spirit. And the fact that the Chinese are here, I think it's a good motivation for them to work together. So yeah, for sure I'm proud. They do these great results at 6 crew on board. I'm not saying that we don't have 8 crew, but we have 6 helmsmen and 6 trimmen. So a guy like the helmsman, instead of steering for 45 minutes, they steer for an hour and 15 minutes. But it's 30 minutes every day on 25 days. And at the end, it probably hurts performance. I would not be surprised overall if we had 8 full pro. But it's the same problem as for everybody. That's the girls have the same problem. It's a compromise for them. Mafre maybe is a compromise because they don't have a lot of time to prepare themselves. And Alve Medica the same. They're young guys. So if somebody would have come and say, hey, by the way, I'm going to tell you the result of the 2 first leg, I would have said, we'll never be second twice like that. So on that part is good, but like Charles and like the boys, like any competitor, when you can feel the victory and you don't win, you are disappointed because we were first 100 miles from here. So it is a little bit of disappointment, but it's fine. I think let's not forget the main objective, which is Gothenburg.
For Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, being back at home means that Ian can personally attend a rather informal business meeting.
I first sailed against Jamie in 1986. How long's that? Nearly 30 years. And Phil's my next door neighbour at home, so a few years there, so yeah, long time, too long. I guess when we start these projects, we're all working together to raise money, work on the budgets and sort of plan and everything. But as the programme moves on, it changes. As soon as the boat hits the water, in order for me to focus on the sailing, I need people I can trust. Phil is fully in charge of the business side, so all the financial stuff, all the payments, contracts, and Jamie's on the commercial side, so he's managing the sponsor relations, helping raise the money, helping raise the sponsorship. After my mum, Jamie's probably my biggest fan. He's the guy that picks me up when things aren't going well. He's the guy that makes me believe in myself, and and that's very important because these Volvo ocean races are emotional roller coasters. Oh, too far. That's what happens when you don't know what the clubs are.
I've known Ian for years, and even when we were kids sailing mirror dinghies against each other, he was always, the last guy in the boat park measuring his rigging, and we were all trying to pitch our tents, and he was still sort of fiddling with his boat a bit, so he's just built like that, I think.
One up. I think you just got to hit it really hard.
Oh. Happy Gilmore, happy Gilmore. Is it important to stagger backwards 3 steps after you've hit it? I've never seen McIlroy do that.
Straight down the middle. Well, I can tell you that last race, there's no way we'd have had time for golf. We were too busy building the boat, building new rigging, trying to keep the show on the road, really. This time round, everything's sort of going to plan. First and third, we've done well in the import races, haven't had any dramas yet, the team is strong. So yeah, it's a lot more relaxed, but also we're also at the front of the leaderboard with 2 other teams, and then that brings new pressures, and raised expectation, and so I think we just got to try and make sure that we improve. I think the other teams are improving. I think we had a little edge in the first leg, and we've got to find ways to make ourselves better.
Another defeat to the skipper.
Next week, the teams swap their wet weather gear for shorts and sandals.
It's a pretty unique experience.
Sophie has to deal with the consequences of her back injury. And finally, it's time for Dongfeng to head home.
Well, the aim is to arrive at home first.